DLC.
The other game on my playlist is talking about rough launches. This is a game that I avoided at rough launch because it was much maligned. It had its bugs and issues and all sorts of problems, and that's Star Wars Outlaws. It recently launched on Steam. It's also available on GeForce Now, which you know I'm a fan of.
Yeah, 25% off on Steam until December 4th, I think.
Yeah, that's correct. And also, I think $40 if you want to get it on console right now on Series X or PlayStation 5, and maybe at Target or Amazon, part of Black Friday sales. So it's available for cheap. But also, coinciding with its launch on Steam on the 21st, they also released this huge new patch for Star Wars Outlaws. They've changed how the forced stealth sections work, where there's no longer instant fail. You can kind of pew-pew your way out of it. They allow you to hold on to weapons that you find in the environment a little longer, where originally you'd kind of get this cool weapon for a moment, and then you'd have to like jump, and you'd be like, well, there's that cool weapon.
They changed that?
They changed that.
That seems massive. Okay.
They changed a lot. It is made by Massive. They changed a lot about the game, seemingly addressing most folks' complaints with Star Wars Outlaws. So I did not play Star Wars Outlaws when it launched. I did not play Star Wars Outlaws until the 21st. I have not played as much Star Wars Outlaws as I'd like to, because spoiler alert, I'd rather be playing it right now than talking to you two fine folks. I love you both, but I really like this game. I was just feeling in the need for some like gritty, salt of the earth, boots on the ground Star Wars. For whatever reason, I think I've kind of abstained from Star Wars for a while, that I was ready to jump back into this universe. And, you know, it's kind of pitched as like Uncharted meets Star Wars, or Uncharted plus a little bit of like flavor from The Division or something like that, same developer. And so I'm early. I just, how do I be? I think I'm past the tutorial, but things are still opening up, if that makes sense. So I'm not totally running free. But man, the opening cutscene is great. It's kind of that darker, grittier Star Wars world setting the tone, and just the vibes of the spaces, even for the opening environment. I talk about this a lot with the Arkham games and games that I really enjoy, where I want to walk, you know, and not run from point to point to just video game min-max. I find myself just walking. The world seems so well realized. It feels like a Disneyland park, right? Like the magic of Disneyland versus other amusement parks, where you feel immersed in that world. And Star Wars Outlaws feels like that as a video game, where I really feel like this whole town was built and exists, and these people exist in it, versus a campaign I really liked, Starfield. Those towns kind of felt pieced together in a way that didn't have the cohesion. So I cannot comment on how much the patch changed things.
This is Christian Spicer telling us that a patch is going to make his top 5 of the year this year.
Hey, the game came out this year, so I mean that's an interesting conversation. Does this game need to be re-reviewed post-patch? I can't re-review it because I'm only reviewing it once.
That is the other big one.
I think that's a fascinating conversation, because this game is almost completely snubbed at the awards. I think everybody assumed this was going to be one of those kind of award season darlings when we heard about it on the horizon for 2024. And, you know, it really got some poor reviews when it came out. But they're changing it. It's evolving. And you never get a second chance to make a first impression, but I think that's an interesting conversation to have at some point, you know?
Yeah, so I can't re-review it. I can only review it in the state it is in now, and I'm still early in it, probably again 4 hours. But Jeff, I really recommend it. I think it's worth jumping into now, especially for that like Star Wars-y-ness
this
of
is
the game.
What I've been waiting for as well. You and I both decided to wait on this one, and I think I'm kind of excited that I'm only going to have my first impression be this version of the game.
Yeah.
So I'm very much looking forward to it, and I want to play it. And who knows, maybe it shows up on our top 5s of the year, even though we didn't play it at launch, which is, you know, a very odd situation for us, who are always trying to, you know, play the newest, latest, best. But I think that's, you know, sometimes maybe better to just let the game cook.
That's my recommendation for Stalker 2. I think Stalker 2 could be somebody's 2025 game of the year if they wait to play it until February. You know, like what's there seems like it could be really cool, but it feels like it's pre-patch Star Wars Outlaws, and Star Wars Outlaws now in this patch. Again, I'm early, but it's really clicking for me.
Bye.